second, and we will slowly begin. For those who were not with us last week in lessons from 1 to 4, my name is Amela Mimic, and I am working as a BIM manager at BEXEL Consulting. So today we are going to talk about lesson 5, which is about creating selection sets. So first of all, how can you get our software, which you will need to follow through the webinars today and further on. To get the trial version or the educational license, please visit our BEXELManager.com website and click on the trial request section. Here you have two options. The first one is the standard trial, and if you click on it, you will see here a button request trial. So if you click on it again, you will see a form, and you have to fill it and send it to us. After we receive the form, we will provide and send to you a 30-day trial version. And with that, you will also receive a fully developed 3D BIM model, which is ready for 3D, 4D, and 5D BIM analysis. If you are a student, a PhD candidate, or an university professor, please use the option Educational License, which is actually an annual license. And with that, you will also receive a fully developed 3D BIM model with ready for all analysis. And of course, you will also receive the password to our BEXEL user area. Okay, as you can see, the BEXEL user area is located on the BEXEL Manager website, and you can enter it so that you enter your email and password. And as you can see, it is divided in 3 different sections. So if you click on the materials folder, you will see that it is further divided in several subfolders. And within the manuals, you have a document which is named BEXEL Manager Step-by-Step Workflow Guide. This document is actually the basis for our lessons and for our webinars. And if you would like to follow through the exercises that we cover in those webinars, just please download the whole document. As you can see, you have within the manuals also several different documents, which are also translated in different languages. So you can download them, and those documents will help you through the process of learning about BEXEL Manager. If you are rather a fan of video tutorials, you can activate the tutorial section and watch the videos that we have prepared for you. Today we will also use an add-in, which is Selection Set Importer. During the process of creating a selection set, so I would advise you to download it and install it. And if you would like to read something more about API, you can activate this folder. And in the demo sample projects folder, you can find several different sample models, which you can download and import to BEXEL Manager. And they are also accompanied with manuals. For example, this one, BEXEL Large Scale Sample Project, has also a PDF document where you can read how you can import this project and create a fully developed 4D and 5D model. And this webinar is not the first webinar that we have released. So within the webinar materials and on our website, you can find and listen to webinars. And if you would like to create a 5D model, you can just activate the databases folder and download one of them or more to create a 5D BIM model. So now I have covered the basics, which are where you can find the materials to follow our series of webinars and how to download a trial version or how to get an educational license. So now we will go to our BEXEL sample project. As you can see, the interface of the software is open, and as we are talking about the topic selection sets from lesson 5, I will just make a short intro about what we have already covered. For example, in lesson 1, we talked about how to review basic information about the project. So you can do that by using the commands within the Manage tab, for example, project information and sources. To review your project visually, you can use the Building Explorer, where you can see that it is divided in 4 different tabs, and you can review your project by categories and families, spatial structure, or different systems. That was mentioned and covered in lesson 2. If for any reason you would like to review the properties your project contains, please just click on a certain element or a group of elements of the project, and the properties palette will activate, where you can review all the properties this model contains. Also, we talked about how you can add new properties, although we highly advise you to add properties to your BIM model in the BIM authoring tool. As we said before, our software is not a BIM authoring tool, but it is a BIM management tool. So in lesson 4, we talked about custom breakdowns palette, which is located on the left side of the screen and actually enables the user to perform a quality check of the model, because it enables you to divide your project on the basis of a certain property that you choose. And by creating a custom breakdown, you can review how many elements have a certain property and which are the values for this property. Further on, you can also review if you have any elements in your project that do not have a certain property, which is really important in further steps, because as you create several different BIM analyses on the basis of a certain property, and if you have elements that do not have this selected property, then your BIM analysis will not be properly done, because it will not include all elements of the BIM project. So if we go back to the step-by-step workflow guide about which we have talked, as you can see, it is divided in several folders, and it contains a complete model, a start model, which is totally empty with no BIM analysis, and it contains a folder lessons. And if you click on it, you will see that you have further on 9 different folders named lesson from 1 329. And in the lesson 5, you have an Exchange folder. And in this Exchange folder, you will find the files you will need to follow through today's webinar. So we will go back to our model. And now we will start with a palette named Selection Sets. So currently it is empty because we have not created a folder or selection set yet. And just to introduce you with the topic, what is actually a selection set? A selection set is a group of elements. And in our software, we divide those groups in smart selection sets and regular selection sets. If you create a regular selection set, it is by selecting elements directly in the viewport or within the custom breakdown. For example, if I click on this group, and also if I click on categories or families within the Building Explorer palette. And just to go back, why do I have here a custom breakdown? This custom breakdown is in the folder lesson 5 in the Exchange folder, and I have imported it as an BXF file. And we talked about this topic, how to import a BXF file, in the lesson 4. And I have imported it because I will use certain groups of those elements within the custom breakdown to create selection sets. So if I previously select elements and create a regular selection set, then this selection set will not include elements, new elements which would be added during the process of an update of the model. And as I said, we also can create smart selection sets, which are created by defining certain rules, and the elements have to apply to those rules to be a part of this certain smart selection set. And if you update your model and new elements are added, they will be automatically divided or placed in certain selection sets if they apply to all rules. So this is the main difference between creating a regular selection set or a smart selection set. So the selection set palette is located between the Building Explorer and the Custom Breakdowns palette. And as you can see, the command line is similar to those commands line in the mentioned palettes. So the first one and the second command are show all elements and invert visibility, which enables you to activate the elements within the viewport. The collapse all and expand all command is linked to the list of selection sets and folders. Now we will use the new selection set command. The filter command enables you to find a certain selection set within the palette. And then you have also a manage selection sets command, which enables you to move selection sets, edit them, and add new folders. So in the first step, we will create 2 different folders, which will be named regular selection sets and smart selection sets. So go to the command line of the selection sets palette and click on the manage selection sets command. A new window, Manage Selection Sets, is opened, and as you can see, you have here the button for creating a new selection set and for creating a new selection set folder. So click on it, and a new window opens where under the path you can see the name project, which means that your folder will be set in this under the project. And then just define the name of the folder, and it will be named regular selection sets. You can add a description if needed, and then just click on the OK button to finish the process. So now we have created a folder in which we can place different selection sets. And in the next step, we will create another folder which will be named Smart Selection Sets. And again, please click on the OK button to finish the process. And the other folder, which is named Update Selection Sets, actually is automatically added, because if you would update this project, new elements would be added to this folder. So now we will close the Manage Selection Sets window, and we will go to the custom breakdowns. So now I have here a custom breakdown that I have imported, and it is created based on the master format property. What does that mean? That means that I have divided this project on the basis of a discrete property, in this case master format, and here is the list of all the values that this property has within the elements of the BIM project. So the first group of elements are those elements which do not have a defined value for the master format, or they do not have the master format property at all. So click on this group, so it colors blue, and then go to the viewport and click with the right click in the empty space, and the contextual menu opens where you choose the option Isolate and then Selected Elements. So now if you go to the Selection Sets palette, click on the New Selection Set command within the Selection Sets command line, and you can see a window appears which is called Create New Selection Set. Define the name of this selection set, for example, exercise 1, and you can add the description. Also, you can define in which folder you will place this selection set, or you can do that later on. And if you go down, you can see here a section where it is stated that your selection set includes 446 elements. And this information down here, which is stated as total elements, is the total number of elements which are placed in the selection set. So if you would add several different rules, this total elements number would show you how many elements apply to those rules. So to finish this process, click on the OK button, and as you can see, a selection set appears within the selection set palette. And as I click on this selection set, so it colors blue, the selected elements are colored yellow in the viewport, and if I activate the custom breakdowns, you will see that here is a group that's also colored blue. And if I click on the Building Explorer and scroll down, just a second, if I activate the Elements tab, you will see that certain families and categories are also colored blue. So this means that if you select some elements within any of these palettes, they will be also selected in the Building Explorer or custom breakdowns. So you can see to which custom breakdown and to which categories and families the selected elements are listed. So on the other hand, you have here the properties palette, and it shows you which properties your selected elements contain. If I scroll down to the textual group, I will see the master format property. And as you can see, there is no value for the master format property. And if I analyze those elements further on, for example, if I click on this element, I will see that this element does not have a master format property at all. So now we will activate the Manage Selection Sets command. And within the Manage Selection Sets window, I will click on the exercise 1. And I would like to move this selection set to regular selection sets folder. So I will scroll down, and in the right lower part of the window, you have an option which is called Allow Moving Selection Sets through Drag and Drop. And just click on the box in front of it. And then drag this selection set to the folder that we have chosen. And now you can see how you can manage selection sets within the Manage Selection Sets window. You can also edit or delete certain selection sets or folders once they are created. Just click on the folder you would like to change or delete, and then click on the Edit or Delete button. Okay. So now we will close this window, and we will activate the contextual menu and use the show all command, and now we can see the whole project. To create selection sets, you can also use the tab which is located next to the Manage tab in the left upper corner of the screen, and just click on it. And as you can see, you have here the command Manage Sets, New Sets, and also the Find Elements tool. So now we will use this tool to find elements which do not have a defined value for master format. And in the next step, we will create a new selection set on the basis of the results of our search. So click on the Find Elements tool, and a window opens where you first click on the new search, and then you can search within the entire project, or you choose a certain source, because we talked in previous lessons that this federated model contains 3 different sources. Also, under the category, you can choose a certain category, or you can leave the all categories option. That is the same thing goes for the visibility and estimated section. So if you would like to set some advanced search parameters, please click on the plus in front of the advanced option, and a drop-down menu opens where you have a list of all properties. So for example, click on the M letter and find the master format property within the list. So you have 2 options. The first option is Has property, and if you click on it, you will search for all elements which have this property. The next The next option is has property and value complies. So in this option, you defined the value for the master format property, and you are searching only for those elements with this defined value. So under the condition, click on the option equal, although you have several other options. And in this window here, you can define a value. But because we are looking for elements which do not have a defined value, we will leave this window empty. So click on the find command. And as you can see, here's the list of all elements. Under the selection filter, I can select all of them by clicking on Ctrl and A within the window. So all of those elements are colored blue. And if I go to the selection section, in the operation, I will choose the new selection option and then click on the select button. So here is a number that just appeared, and this is the total number of all selected elements. And now click on the option Create Selection Set. As you can see, the Create New Selection Set window opens, where you can define the folder where your new selection set will be stored. So click on the regular selection sets folder and then click on the OK button. So in this step, I have clicked on this command, which contains 3 dots. And I have defined the folder where my selection set will be stored or located. Now define the name of this selection set, for example, exercise 2. You can add a description, for example, creating a selection set by using the find tool. And as we scroll down, you can see that here that we have the total elements number, which is 431, because in this case we have not included those elements which do not have a defined master format property at all. And to finish the process, just click on the OK button. And then close this window. As we go to the selection sets palette, you can see that under the folder regular selection sets, it is stated that it contains 2 groups. And those are the 2 groups that we have just created. Okay, so although we have defined search parameters within the find elements tool, this selection set is regular because we haven't set rules within the create new selection set window. And now I will show you how you can create a new selection set, which will be a smart selection set. So first click on the empty space so you will not select certain elements. And then just go to the command line within the selection sets and click on the new selection set command. Define the folder in which your smart selection set will be located by clicking on this command, and we will place it in the smart selection sets. And then finish the process by clicking on the OK button. Define the name of your selection set, which will be exercise 3. And now we have the section which is called rules. And as you can see, because we haven't selected elements before we started to create a selection set, this section is empty. So there are no elements that were previously selected and are a part of this selection set. And that's why this is the reason that this selection set contains the number 0 for total elements. So if you click on the arrow next to the new rule, you can see that you have 3 different options, and we will choose the option inclusive. Intersect means that you make an intersection between 2 groups of elements. Exclusive, that you exclude a certain group of elements, and inclusive, that you include all elements. So we will choose the first option, inclusive, and a window reference object opens. So under the type, you can define if you will choose buildings, building stories, categories, families, elements, or element queries for your selection set. So in this case, I will choose the option element query, because we will create a selection set with elements that do not have a property master format at all, and have this property, but the value is not defined. So the result should be the same as in exercise 1, where we have previously selected elements from the CBS structure that had the undefined value for the master format. So as I click on the insert query, I have here several options, and first of all, you have to define if you have more rules, then you have to define if your elements will apply to all of the rules. Then you have to choose the option all of the following. In our case, we are looking for elements that either apply to one rule or to the second rule, so we will choose the option any of the following. And now we will define a rule for elements that do not have a master format property at all. So click on the insert query, and within it, choose the option has property. A window new query is opened, and in the property name section, enter the M letter, and from the list, choose the master format property, and then click on the OK button. So now all the elements which do have the master format are placed in this group, but we are looking for those that do not have this property. And this is the reason why we will click on this rule, so it colors blue, with the right click, and a menu opens where you have the option modify, and then click on the option negate. So now you can see that the rule has changed, where we are looking for elements where do not have this certain property, which is called master format. So in the next step, we will define a rule for those elements which have the master format property but do not have a value for it. So just click on the insert query again and choose the option property value. Within the new query window, define the master format property. Oh, sorry. And as you can see, this is a textual type. So in the equal window, choose the option in the operator window, choose the equal option. As you can see, you have several different options. And in this window, you would define the value for your property, and we will leave it empty. And just click on the OK button. And now, to finish the process, click on the OK button again within the Reference Objects window. And as you can see, the result appears within the Create New Selection Set window. If you click on the rules, you will see that we have two sets of rules. And in the right side of the Create New Selection Set window, they are stated. And here you have under element count the number of all elements, which is the same as the total elements number. And if we go back to the selection sets, and if we review the exercise 1, you can also see that it contains 446 elements. So the result was the same as in the custom breakdown that we have created or imported. So click on the OK button to finish the process. And as you can see, the Smart Selection Sets folder now contains one group, which is the selection set that we have created. Okay. You can review those elements in the viewport by clicking with the right click in the empty space and choosing the option Isolate and then selected elements within the contextual menu. And also you can view the values of this property, of those properties, of this property within the properties palette. And as you click on it, you will see that the value for the master format is not defined. Further on, if you click some other elements, as for example, those 4 elements in the back, you will see that they don't contain the master format property at all. Okay. So now I will show you how you can create a rule, a set of rules in the Excel file, and you can then import it by using the add-in, which is named Import Selection Sets. And as I said, this add-in, just to go back to our user area. So this is the user area on our website, and under the add-ins section, you can find the add-in which is called Selection Set Importer. And if you download it, it will appear within the BEXEL Manager. And here you have a tab in the left upper corner, which is called Add-ins, and here's the preview of it, of the command, which enables you to import selection sets which are created by the help of the Excel file. So if I go to the BEXEL step-by-step workflow guide, and if I click on the lesson 5, which is located within the folder lessons, and then if I click on the exchange folder, you can see here an exercise which is called exercise 6, creating smart selection sets in Excel. So if I click on it, you can see a preview of a sheet. So in the first column, which is called folder, you have the name of the folder which where this selection set will be located. In the column name, you define the name of the exercise, or so-called your selection set, and in the query, you defined the query of the set of rules for your selection set, and the elements should apply to those rules if they will be further on a part of this selection set. So how to define those queries is stated within the tab Cost Editor when you export a classification. So I will show you that further on. And now, as you can see, this set of rules for this selection set is actually the same as we have set it for within the selection set palette. So now just close this file and go to the import selection sets and choose the file that we have just opened, and to finish the process, click on the open button. Okay, so now I have here a notification that something went wrong, but we will open this log so you will see that this is actually not a mistake. It just means that the rows in the Excel sheet were empty. So click on the yes button. And as you can see, here's an errors log. And if you open it, it stated that the rows from 3 to 9 were empty within the Excel sheet. So just close this document and go to the Smart Selection Sets palette. And now you can see that you have two almost the same folders. In one of them is placed exercise 6 smart selection sets, which we have just imported. This is the selection set created on the basis of the Excel file. So if you would like to create a dozen of selection sets at the same time, it's maybe easier to set some rules within the Excel file and then use the import selection sets add-in. And now I will just change the name of this selection set and delete, and then move it to our smart selection sets folder and delete the existing one. So go to the Manage tab, Manage command, choose the selection set you would like to edit, and click on the Edit command within the Manage selection sets. And I will define a new name, which is, for example, Exercise 4. And if I click on the set of rules within the rules section, I will see those rules on the right side of the screen. And if we analyze them, they are the same as in exercise 3. So the result was the same, though we have used two different approaches. And that's it. So click on the OK button to finish the editing of the selection set. And now you can choose, click again on the box in front of Allow Moving Selection Sets through Drag and Drop option. And just move this Smart Selection Set to the folder you would like to place. And now you can see it in a different folder. And just click on this folder that we have actually imported, and then choose the button Delete. And the software notifies you that selection set will be removed. So click on the OK button to finish the process. Okay, so now we have 4 different exercises and 4 different selection sets. Okay, click on the Show All button so you can review the whole project. And those selection sets were somehow created during the so-called BIM quality check of the model. So if you would analyze how many elements contain a different property, You would then send this selection set to the group of people who are actually modeling this element to further on review if it is correct that certain elements do not have a certain property. You can also create selection sets to create a clash detection analysis. And we will talk about clash detection tomorrow in lesson 6. Or you can create, for example, a selection set on the basis of a property called construction sequence. And those selection sets then can be then further on used while you're automatically creating a 4D schedule in BEXEL Manager. Or you can create selection sets that are that can be further on linked to the task of your imported schedule. So you can create a 4D simulation, and the schedule can be imported from various softwares. So now what we will do, also you can create a set of selection sets by creating a 60 BIM model where you link a certain group of elements to documentation that is needed during the exploitation phase of your BIM project. So as you can see, the topic of creating selection sets is versatile because, as I said and mentioned already before, it's used in every BIM phase of the project. So now we will go to the custom breakdowns palette, and I will show you how to create a simple custom breakdown on the basis of the discrete property, which is called construction sequence. And then we will create a custom breakdown on the basis of, we will create selection sets on the basis of the created custom breakdown. So activate the custom breakdowns so that you can click on this palette, and then click on the new button within the custom breakdowns palette and choose the option blank custom breakdown. So in the create custom breakdown window, define the name of this exercise, which can be this custom breakdown, which can be called exercise 5. Under the type, choose the buildings, because we will use all elements of this project, and to divide them on the basis of the construction sequence property. Then check the box in front of the building and go to the use selection command and click on it. So now you can see the total number of elements which will be a part of our breakdown. Click on the arrow next to the add breakdown rule, and within it you can see several different options, and we will use the option group by discrete property. So a window which is named select discrete property opens, and we will enter an abbreviation, for example CON for construction sequence, and then we will click on the filter command, which is located here. And in the window beneath, you will see only the properties which contain this abbreviation that we have entered. So choose the property construction sequence, which is actually a textual property. And to finish the process, just click on the OK command. You can add this color coding rule, and you can review the result of your custom breakdown in the 3D color coded view, which is located here. And we talked about this topic in the lesson 4. So for now, just click on the OK button to finish the process. As you can see, this custom breakdown contains 5 different groups. this construction sequence has 4 different values, and also some elements of this BIM project do not contain the construction sequence property. So now we will go to the selection sets palette to create selection sets based on the custom breakdown that we have just created. To do that, we have to click on the Manage Selection Sets command within the Selection Sets palette. And when it is activated, you have to click on the arrow next to the command New Selection Set. And then you have an option, Creation Wizard, and click on it. And in the next menu, the option from Custom Breakdown will appear. And within the Creation Wizard window, just choose the custom breakdown on the basis which you would like to create selection sets, and we will choose the exercise 5 because the custom breakdown created on the basis of the master format contains around 75 groups, and during the process of creation selection sets you would create 75 different selection sets, which is actually not a problem, but we just used a different example to show you the process. So now you have in the element set 2 different options. The first one is elements from Q2 and CBS, which enables the user to create regular selection sets on the basis of the custom breakdown structure. And the second one is all elements. So if you click on it, on this option, the selection sets from the custom breakdown on the basis of the custom breakdown will be smart. So I will leave the first option, elements from Q2 and CBS, and I will finish the process by clicking on the OK button. So within the Manage Selection Sets, 5 new selection sets appear, and they are also seen in the Selection Sets palette. And if I go to the custom breakdown and to review the numbers, for example, for those who have the undefined value is 350, and if I close this Manage Selection Sets option and then go to the custom breakdown, I will see that also in the custom breakdown structure there are around 350 elements which do not have a defined value for the property construction sequence. And now we can create, for example, a selection set for property construction sequence which has a defined value phase 1. And if I click on this element, you will see, and this selection set, you will see the elements colored yellow. Just to show you how you can get the same result within the selection set palette. So now click on the new selection set, define the name of the selection set as, for example, exercise 6, which is also our last exercise. Click on the new rule and option inclusive, and within the reference object, under the type, define the element query and click on the insert query to choose the option property value, which we have already used before when we have created, I think, exercise 3. Choose the construction sequence under the name of the property. Then you have the property type, and which is textual, and this is defined in the BIM authoring tool. And then under the operator, you will choose the equal. So enter the value for the construction sequence, which is phase 1, And here's an option case sensitive, which means that if you check this box, it will actually be sensitive to big or small letters. So just click on the OK button and then finish the process by clicking on the OK button. And now you can see that if you analyze the selection set within the selection sets palette, phase 1, which was created on the basis of the custom breakdown, that it has the same number as the selection set that we have created within the create new selection set window, because the rules that we have set for both of them are the same, or is the same, because it is just one rule. So this is actually a preview how you can use different tools in BEXEL Manager, and you will come to the same result, and you will get the same result. So finish the process by clicking on the OK button. And by that, we have finished all the topics that were covered in the lesson 5. And if you have any questions, oh, I can see that there were no questions, or they were already answered by our colleagues. And for now, I would like to finish this lesson if you don't have any further questions. And I would like to thank you for listening to our today's webinar. And we will be together tomorrow again in the lesson 6 and lesson 7.